Before Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. was considered Hollywood's biggest risk. In the 1980s and early 90s, he was a rising star. His performance in Chaplin earned him an Academy Award nomination. But behind the scenes, addiction took over his life. Arrests, rehab, jail time. Studios labeled him uninsurable. No one wanted to touch him. When Marvel suggested Downey for Iron Man, executives said no repeatedly. But that risk didn't just save Marvel. It resurrected Robert Downey Jr.'s entire career. And if Iron Man was a gamble, Captain America was an even bigger one. Before Captain America, Chris Evans was stuck. Hollywood saw him as the funny hot guy, teen comedies, rom-coms. He played the Human Torch in Fantastic Four and hated the fame that came with it. When Marvel offered him Captain America, he rejected the role 3 times. He feared being trapped by fame. Ironically, that same role would redefine him as one of the most respected actors of his generation. Before Thor, Chris Hemsworth was almost invisible in Hollywood, an Australian soap actor with a few failed auditions. He even lost a major role to his own brother. When he landed Thor, most audiences had never heard his name. Marvel didn't just cast an actor, they created a global star overnight. Thor became the god of thunder and the second strongest Avengers, the almighty king of Asgard. Though Loki, his brother, was a menace. Mark Ruffalo replaced Edward Norton, a controversial decision. Before Marvel, Ruffalo was known for emotional, quiet performances. Indie films, supporting roles. Nobody expected him to fit into a CGI-heavy blockbuster universe. But that vulnerability became the Hulk's greatest strength. He smashes, he roared, and he is the biggest. Scarlett Johansson wasn't unknown before Marvel. She was already an acclaimed actress. But action movies, nobody took her seriously. Black Widow changed that. She went from indie darling to one of the most iconic female action heroes in cinema history. Cliffhanger. But Marvel made a bold move that shocked fans with the Hulk. Jeremy Renner was an Oscar-nominated actor before Marvel, but fame, franchises, he had none. Hawkeye gave him longevity, not instant stardom. And that slow burn success made him one of the MCU's most grounded characters. He targets and never misses. Wanda Maximoff is the Marvel Cinematic Universe's greatest tragedy. She lost her parents, lost her brother, lost the man she loved twice. And every time she tried to heal, the world punished her for it. Wanda doesn't just bend reality, she breaks it because reality broke her first. The Scarlet Witch isn't evil. She's grief-given power. And in the MCU, no one shows us a harder truth. Unchecked pain is more dangerous than any villain. Sam Wilson was never supposed to be Captain America. He had no super soldier serum, no enhanced strength, no vibranium running through his veins. What he had was empathy before the wings. Sam was a counselor, helping broken soldiers put themselves back together. He listened when others judged. He stood firm when others stepped back. When Steve Rogers handed him the shield, the world asked, is he worthy? Sam didn't try to replace Steve Rogers. He redefined what Captain America means. Not a symbol of power, but a symbol of responsibility. Retention tease. And if Sam represents hope, the next hero represents chaos. Peter Parker is the MCU's most relatable hero. He's not fighting for glory. He's fighting to keep his life from falling apart. Homework, rent, relationships. And somehow, saving the universe in between, Peter learned a brutal lesson early. With great power comes great loss. No mentor lasts forever. No safety net remains. Spider-Man's strength isn't his webs. It's the choice to keep helping, even when no one remembers him. Stephen Strange started as a man who believed in control. Control over his career. Control over his hands. Control over his destiny. Then life took everything away. Becoming Doctor Strange wasn't about learning magic. It was about learning humility. He saw millions of futures and chose the one where he wasn't the hero. Strange protects reality not with strength, but with sacrifice and foresight. Sometimes saving the world means letting go of your ego. Vision was born from code, but lived with more humanity than most humans. He questioned violence. He questioned loyalty. He questioned existence itself. Vision understood something most heroes didn't. Being powerful doesn't mean you're right. His love for Wanda proved that humanity isn't created, it's chosen. Vision didn't want to rule the world, he just wanted to understand it. Soft pause, emotional beat, and sometimes that makes a hero more powerful than a god. T'Challa was born a king, but he chose to become a leader. Wakanda was hidden, protected, untouched, but T'Challa understood something powerful. Isolation is not peace. As Black Panther, he fought enemies. As king, he fought tradition. His legacy wasn't just vibranium or technology, it was opening Wakanda to the world. Tenera showed us that true strength is sharing power, not hoarding it.